Well. Hello again and welcome back, I should say to myself. It's been a while, but a lot has happened in the couple months that I've been traveling and moved around and done a bunch of cool stuff. I want to talk about it. So much has happened since I left Seattle, honestly, a week after the elections when I moved out, which was a perfect time to leave that part of the country because, again, the political climate, and as you know, West Coast being extremely, honestly, yeah, as far left as it fucking gets, no pun intended, to watch the sea of tears that just flooded that whole PNW area was pretty funny. And I want to talk about that first. It's really, I don't know if ironic, I'm not even sure what the word to use here, but to me it's freaking hilarious. And putting a pin in that, jumping back onto now being near the Cleveland area and seeing on these dating apps the number of women who are just like, if you didn't support women's rights, hard swipe pass if you're a Trumper and blah, blah, blah. And it's going back to the original thing. It's just like, it's shocking to see how many young women and middle-aged women are, A, just stupid, and two, just so willing to die on that one hill. Like, regardless of what when I talk to some of these women about, like, the ones who actually will message me back on the issue, I'm like, really, like, why do you hate Trump? Because he's against abortion. He doesn't like women's rights. In what way? Like, when has he said he was going to just ban? So here's my thing, the abortion issue. I think this is, and again, I'm a man, so while my opinion and view on it is very limited by the fact that, yes, it technically does not affect me in a physical way. Economically, it has a big effect on me. And before I even get on the opinion, my own personal view, for the reference, I have always been pro-choice. No matter where I've lived, as long as I can remember, I have always been for anything that gets rid of people. I like the Thanos principle. I think if half the people in the world went away with a snap of the fingers, there'd be a shock, but the world would be a better place with a lot less people. America is the best example. I think we have far too many freaking people in this country, and half of them could go away, and it's like, would you really be able to tell a difference? Sure. Anywho, I've always been pro-choice. Because A, I don't have a uterus, and so while my contribution to the child-making process is, a couple of minutes and then followed by a seizure, not a lot of effort when it comes to dealing with the whole thing. So I've always, took a step back and away from that end. However, I do like Dave Chappelle. He had an old joke a long time ago where he's like, I support women's right to choose to have the child if they support my choice to pay for it. And I thought it was a brilliant point because economically it does affect the man very much. So going back to it, it's just like the amount of young women that are just literally, that's all you care about is the abortion. My rights, my rights as the woman to abort. And there's so many other issues right now in politics that actually have a very big effect on you. Like, frankly, and that's what I like to ask women is like, really, have you had an abortion? And 100% of women get upset when I've asked that question, and that's fine. And again, I don't care, like legit, I have no fucks given if you have or have not had an abortion. I really don't care. But it just gives me the ammunition I need to further engage in that conversation because it's like, okay, well, if you have had an abortion or whatever, then absolutely, then that has affected you. And to me, it gives more weight to the validity of your opinion versus, I don't know, 99% of women, have not had abortions or needed one or whatever. Like, it's just so funny how that's their champion cause thing versus like, oh, I don't care about housing, grocery prices, gas, all these taxes and things that do affect me every day of my life, But nope, we need our abortion rights. We can't have big angry orange man, telling us what we can and can't do with our bodies. Like, grow up. So again, I'm super for it. I think abortions are fantastic. I think there shouldn't be any limit on when people, like, honestly, like, you should be able to board up to 18 years, frankly, because there's a lot of shitty kids out there that are not going to grow up to be good, productive members of society. And, yeah, that's all I can say about that without getting this thing demonetized. I mean, really, that's just what it comes down to. I support, there's just too many people, too many safety laws. Like, I think if you don't want to wear a seatbelt in your vehicle or tell your kids to wear a seatbelt and then you guys go meet a telephone pole at 80 miles an hour on the interstate, you fucking deserve it. Sorry. And we should stop penalizing people for wanting to engage in said stupidity. Because if you want to do that stuff, then, yeah, like, all that stuff. You know, like kids eating Tide Pods, okay, I don't feel bad for a single one of them. Like, you're dumb enough, like, whatever. Be better, and that's where I blame is, like, be better parents. Like, tell your kids, like, no, this isn't candy. I mean, Jesus Christ is why you get the child safety latches on everything. I remember when we were kids, like, oh, these are M&Ms and these are mommy's happy pills. You know, don't mix the stuff. Like, again, if you're the parent, keep the shit away from kids. And then when they're old enough to understand, you have to articulate to their level, like, hey, this is how you differentiate between good and bad things. All right? But again, with our society, we've gotten away from morals and blaming the parents. Because again, I'm 39, technically millennial, whatever. And my generation, and especially Gen Z and the younger ones, it seems like people are becoming allergic to accountability. And this is going to further into my abortion point here in a second, that we just don't want to be accountable for our actions. And God forbids when our kids do dumb shit, you know, we have to, oh, they're fucking autistic, they're on the spectrum, that's why my kid misbehaves, or that's why the kid does this, instead of like, oh, I want to be I want to be that kid's friend and not his parent. Okay, you're fucking the problem here. Like, you don't need a therapist or a psychologist to see, like, you just really have to step it up as parents, because I'm not seeing it anymore. And frankly, and that's another big thing there where, again, this is going to all tie in, like, at 39 years old, like, I absolutely am terrified by the idea of dating single moms now. Now, frankly, the last female I was interested in before I left Seattle, fucking fantastic woman, unfortunately, and she has a now 16-year-old daughter. And unfortunately, I would have loved to have them move in with me and go across, but custody and all that other shit factors in. But, like, that was a good parent. That was a woman that was very good with her kid, taught her daughter right from wrong, and was just a really fucking good parent without being like that helicopter hovering around and getting in every aspect of their lives. And I respect that. Like, that to me is the most respectable fucking thing a woman can do. Like, I can't even like the level of I don't even care if you're a fucking, on a scale of 1 to 10 looks wise, like, you could be a 10, but I see you're a shitty parent, you're a 0 to me. I don't care how hot you are. It's just, there's no appeal to that. So when I see a single mom out there working, doing all her kids' activities and just helping her kid become a better functional adult one day, like, that's one of the fucking hottest things somebody can do. And I guess women can see that in single dads as well. It's just a good, and again, at my age group, that's a huge thing. But that was it. That's like one female in dozens that I saw in 5 years in Seattle, of just these shitty parent single moms that are like, oh, I like, the kid was the burden. Like, oh, I'm glad I have split custody, so that way when the kid's with the dad for a week, like, I can go out to clubs and party and still be the little, you know, trying to hoe it up and find some other dumb young man to pay her bills at that point. And it's fucking disgusting. And to me, it's like, there's just, like, I'm so allergic to that mentality. And again, I don't care how hot you are. It's like, no, I don't want anything to do with you. There's no room for that in my life at this point. And I just, nope, can't do it. But the abortion thing. And let's go ahead, because this goes back into the morals where I said it all is kind of looping back into that topic. The only reason I'm even remotely against abortion is because, again, it goes back to morals, and now the fact that especially females who are famously allergic to accountability, it just reinforces that. Because at that point, it's like, no, I want the freedom to be out to, you know, go out, and I have these 14 guys this month blow loads in me, and I have the option to go get that baby taken care of before it becomes a problem and ruins my life and ruins my tight little body, you know, because you don't want to be accountable for your actions. That's really what it boils down to. It's just the fact that in this new where women are hypersexualized, and again with the OnlyFans content creators and all this other stuff where you're selling your body for money and making tons of it. If the ability to have an abortion is your freedom, but it also makes you free of accountability, because now you can go fuck all these guys, and if there's a mistake, you can take care of that versus you actually having to deal with consequences of your actions. So that's my only fucking qualm with any kind of abortion issue, is it's reinforcing this allergy to accountability that young women have, and it's just fostering that even harder. And further again, reasons why I'm enjoying the single life, and it's I can't even imagine. Again, I found one woman in dozens who I'd actually this one's a keeper. That's somebody, you take home to mom. I'd be proud to date this person because they're a fucking great mom, great woman, not into all that silly shit. And guess what? Accountable for their actions. And admitting if I suck at these aspects in life, I want to date because I'm not good at doing this. I can cook, but I suck at fixing stuff, or I don't know how again, there's great humility and humbleness in that, to be I recognize that these are my character, these are my weaknesses, not even based on gender, but this is what I suck at. I need somebody who is good at these things so we can complement each other. That's like dating 101. That's what you want to find, right? So it's just mind-boggling the amount of, again, I get on these dating apps and it just floors me to see the amount of people, young women out here, not even young, these are women in their 30s and 40s even, that are just no, if you don't support women's right to choose, then you're just pure evil and blah. And again, that right there is just an immediate, that's a hard pass. Because one, that tells me you're stupid. You're stupid, you're two-dimensional, and just the way your thought process works makes you extremely unattractive. Because just that alone, that bumper sticker on your car right there tells me more than enough that I need to know about you as a person and as an intellectual or anything. It's just not going to be compatible, because again, I don't want to be with stupid people who just are short-sighted and just can't, you can have your opinion on something, but I'm open to hear all perspectives. Even if I don't agree with it, I'd like to know, and I do. Okay, one, why do you not like Donald Trump? What about his policies or him as a... No, he's just an angry man, and he's a sexist, he's a racist, he's a this, and I'm oh, where? What are you basing that off of? Can you show me the sources? Again, that's why I hate... People hate me when I say this, but I'm cite your sources. I want to see what you're talking about. Text me the link. Show me what you read or what you saw that made you base an opinion off a person off of this. And 9 out of 10 times, it's always some Instagram, Facebook post that's oh, wow, you got that off of freaking TrumpHaters.org Facebook group. Yeah, put that on a college paper, see how well that floats. But again, that's just the simplicity and stupidity of most of these people nowadays, because they just don't think. They just see something, read it, take it at face value, and then, oh, it's gospel, I don't question it. And that goes for left and right side of the aisle here, because there's just a lot of dumb people. It really is. And I know I'm a freaking boomer here, but it comes with that age and wisdom of knowing that I don't fucking want to be around these people at all. Because again, and I'm a gamer, don't get me wrong, I'm a huge nerd. I have been a fucking gamer the majority of my life, and that's never going to change. I know, I don't like guys who play video games. No, bitch, you don't like guys who divert their attention away from you because you have no hobbies or ability to entertain yourself for more than 30 minutes or when Love Island is over. And then, oh, he's giving his attention to something else that's not me. I don't feel validated. And that's what you don't want to say, ladies. And that's okay, because we know. We speak enough, girl, that we know that's the bullshit in your heads. And that's fine. So again, people oh, you play video games? I'm you're probably a dumb bitch. If that's the first thing you thought about music, you're a gamer? Ugh. All right, you're dumb. Cool. It's all the other cool shit that people have. Okay, you enjoy video games as a hobby, fine. Versus okay, well, what else what do you do for work? What other hobbies do you have? Bro, I game, but then I'm going to the range on the weekends. I haven't gotten into the hiking here in Ohio yet. I know there's a few trails. The weather has been absolute shit, because I moved here in freaking mid-November, and it's been snow, 20 degrees, and the day that it's 45 degrees and actually I can walk outside without dying, it's pissing rain right now. So And it's not like that Seattle rain where it's just kind of misty and you can just wear a freaking coat and you're fine. Now this is real rain where you're like, fuck, I need an umbrella and like waterproof everything. So I haven't been able to do a lot of outdoorsy shit yet. My field bags and my mountain bike's just sitting in the garage. And, but hopefully when winter's over, I get to explore that shit. But again, people have layers. And again, I can't stand reality TV. I think it's disgusting. Like, and I know most women love these bullshit shows because it's like their fantasies, like when they read their smut books, which I love, by the way. But I understand it. You like to live, like everybody likes to live in a fantasy of some way to be entertained. For guys, like the big nerds who like, you know, I'm a World of Warcraft player and that whole, you know, like I love fantasy games because again, it just lets me be in another world that's like, you know, yeah, when am I ever going to get to slay a fucking dragon or whatever? And I get to hang out socially with a bunch of people from all over the world who I've met a lot of, by the way. You know, and it's just a different social aspect. But if you're going to knock that, if you don't have the ability to like see what that is, then again, you're just a simple person. And I have been guilty of that as well to the point where, you know, when I ask like, oh, what TV shows do you watch? Oh, Love Island, Love is Blind, blah, blah, blah. And it's just trash TV. And I'm like, okay, fine. That's your bullshit. That's what you do for entertainment. I have my video games. We both, just two sides of the same coin. We don't have to like each other's shit, but I'm like, hey, listen, you can watch all the fucking crap you want on my TV. I'm going to be up there playing my video games. You know, when you're done binging, we can go do something, grab something to eat. Leave me alone while I'm doing my shit. I'll leave you do your stuff. And that's how equality should be. But it's just ironic that so many women out there are like, oh, you're a gamer? Ugh. And I'm like, well, what hobbies do you do? Well, I like to travel and I like to hike. And I'm like, none of those are hobbies. Okay, everybody loves to fucking travel pretty much. Like going to a new place and eating new food and seeing something you haven't seen before is always stimulating. You know, I know there's antisocial people out there that don't like traveling and whatnot, but even then, what do? They're over here Googling or in VR and they're watching YouTube videos or Discovery Channel. Like they're still putting themselves into these other places without having to physically go there. So it's, again, I know you can, I'm not saying that's the same kind of travel, but in the essence of it, kind of the same thing. You're escaping your reality to go see something new and learn something, see other cultures and whatnot. And that's fine. But then again, everybody fucking likes to do that. Oh, I like to go out to eat and have, like, yeah, people like food. Matter of fact, I don't know anybody who doesn't like food or going to restaurants to eat good food that you don't want to fucking cook. If that's like your two big things, like, simple bitch, get away from me. Sorry. And again, it's, you know, that's why I like to ask them, like, cool, what do you do for, you know, I got to get off that tangent there. So again, going back to abortions and why we hate the orange man and whatever, like, I get it. You know, if you think, I mean, I really don't, honestly. Like, if you think this guy, like, believe me, Trump was supposed to put up a wall around Mexico and make Mexico pay for it. Like, that's what politicians do. Politicians say shit, and most of it doesn't ever happen, but it gets enough people to on your side and you vote for them, okay? I mean, frankly, again, you're so worried about abortions and stuff. There's plenty of places that have abortion and it's legal. How's that made your life better? Like, the stuff's legal. Like, now, if they decriminalized marijuana or they made it fully legal again, like, you're still going to get it. But how's that really affecting your fucking life? You still work. You got to go freaking... Does it help your insurance, your mortgage go down? Like, just the real life stuff that actually fucking matters. Like, nobody... Like, you don't care about that. You're not worried about that at all when it comes to voting. It's just you care about that one fucking cause. And frankly, my freaking gay LGBT whoever's like, for you guys that are jumping on that ship, it's like, sorry, any gay man that's like, oh no, there's some... Like, really? What fucking... If anything, gay dudes, you have the least amount of worry about abortions out there. I mean... Sure, I mean, the only argument I could see is like, oh yeah, like, you guys need to adopt some more kids somewhere. But guess what? There's plenty of fucking kids at the shelters. Like, that's the bonkers part. Like, everybody like, oh, we want to adopt like foreign kids or whatever so we can get our tax break and money from the government. Like, there's plenty of fucking crack babies here in America. There's plenty of fucking kids that nobody wants. You can adopt them. But you don't want to do that because you want to get that little Vietnamese baby so you can make Facebook posts about it and, you know, show how... You want to bring this poor person from another country and show them the life they'll never know over there because it makes you feel good. And that's what it's all about. It really comes down to vanity. And I do know people who have done that. I know several people who have adopted foreign babies, and they don't like. There's a kids shelter like 3 miles down the road, but you wanted to pay $150,000 to get a Chinese baby. Like, really? But again, those come with financial benefits from the government, but they don't want to talk. Like they never. It's just like these dudes. I know plenty of these guys in their 30s and 40s now. Like you get all the gym selfies coming back, and it's like, oh wow, you're in the gym really hard there, buddy. But yeah, when's your last prescription for tea that you got? You know, what's your like? Show me your tea count. You know, how many years have you been on that going to that doctor to get those freaking testosterone shots sent to your house? Like, they don't want to talk about that. So it's again, it's all about this vanity, but we don't want to admit like, oh, this, that, and the other. Now, on that flip side, because I heard the people who know me, they're like, oh, well, you're posting photos now that you lost weight. And I'm like, yeah, but I had surgery. All right, I'm a fat, lazy piece of shit, and I hate exercising, and I don't like dieting. I tried the carnivore keto. I've done a bunch of this stuff. I just lack the willpower to stick it through more than a year or so. And yeah, I had surgery. So I had 80% of my stomach cut out. And yeah, I've lost almost 100 pounds. Like, I've never kept that a secret. I remember when my dad, we had a wedding in Portland and all the family flew out to there. And this was like 4 weeks after my surgery. And I was still like way heavier. But again, he's like, is it like okay if I tell the family about blah, blah? I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm not trying to keep secrets here. Like, again, I don't have that level of vanity where it's like, oh, wow. Like, and I've had people where I haven't seen in a few years like, damn, you're looking good. Like, you do it. Like, nah, dude, I had surgery. Like, I'm not ashamed of it. Like, again, like, yeah, I'm a lazy piece of shit. And if there's a shortcut I can take, lost weight, and now it's allowed me to change my eating lifestyle to keep that. I'm like, yeah, that was easier than doing all that other shit. And it is what it is. And now I have to maintain that for the rest of my life or you get fat again. So it's like, all right, I took a shortcut, got where I want to be at. Now I just have to maintain. So again, it's just being fucking honest about it. So again, when I see all these people posting all their selfies and photos, and it's like, I know the shit you're taking. Like, that's not natural. I know what you're doing, but you never want to mention that. You just want to show the results and be like, oh, everybody be proud of the person I am now. Wink, wink. And that's fine. And because of that, and this is mainly guys that I talk shit on, like, I'll never judge women for plastic surgery. And I can't because I'd be a hypocrite. Because again, didn't like the way I looked. I got surgery to fix it. And that's fine. If you've got the money and you're not happy with yourself in certain ways, like, yeah, go do something about it. Don't bitch about it. Don't piss and moan and cry like, oh, I've been doing... Like, look, if there's a problem, fix it. Crying and bitching, moaning about it, and getting sympathy and pity parties for others, like that never fixes problems. So, again, plenty of women I know that get certain stuff done, and I'm like, hey, good for you. Are you happy about it? Like, cool, you got nice tits now. Are you good? I'm thankful for them. They look great. But are you happy with it? But then there's the downside to it where they go too far, where I know the girls that they're getting Botox. It's such constant maintenance. Like, you want to look like a Kardashian, so you're spending thousands of dollars a year on all sorts of like stuff to get done. And it's like, and that's not what you look like. That's not who you are. And it's not sustainable. Like the crazy amount of like, if you're dropping like $300 to $500 on makeup a month, like, what the fuck are you doing? And I feel bad because I know chicks that do it. To this day, and I feel so sorry. And they're in their 30s, and I'm like, look, you're a middle-aged chick. You're going to age. You don't have that tight little 20-year-old body that you did in college when you're running around in a freaking thong bikini at the beach and all the guys wanted to fuck you. Yeah, now you're a middle-aged mom, and gravity and things happen, and things aren't as tight as they used to be. That's life, bitch. You know? But you want to spend all this money to like try to look like a 20-year-old again. And it's like, dude, it doesn't. First off, while I appreciate how you look, it's very obvious when you're a middle-aged chick trying to look 20 versus, yeah, that's a 20-year-old chick. Like, we know the difference. Like, nobody's fooled by this whatsoever. And especially, it's like, guess what? Because if you manage to take that guy home, like, and you date him, like, eventually the guy is going to see you without the makeup and war paint on, They're gonna see your hair, the roots, like guys, like we're not dumb. Even the dumbass 20-year-old guys, like we know the fake shit. Your stupid fake lashes and all the other crazy shit you do, like we know it's not real. And guess what? We don't care, because unless we join the other team, like gals, you're the only game in town. We're still gonna fuck you. Like regardless of the freaking makeup, the nails, the hair, the whatever, like we're still gonna bang you. Like we're not gonna say no. So and again, this comes back to vanity, because you're not doing it to impress guys. Because again, you know that guys just want what's between your legs. The rest of that shit, that's for you, and for you to like make other chicks jealous. And frankly, that's the funny part, is like women, you guys have become your own worst enemy. And I think it's funny. I love the whole mentality where like what was it? Would you rather be stuck in the woods with a bear or the man? Like, you guys are so anti-men now. And I think Bill Burr has touched on this in some form or fashion, but it's like, you guys created this whole problem. Like women, it's not like men, you don't have the problem with men. We're just players in the game where you set the rules. All right, you guys are the ones who are, like, you control the market, by the way. Like women, you literally own the pussy market. It's yours. You can set that, it's like oil. Like you could set that shit to $500 a barrel tomorrow. We still got to buy gas. We'll bitch about it, but guess what? It's the only game in town. So again, ladies, you set the rules here. Now going back to when I said abortion and morals and stuff, women, in your pursuit of this, what are we on, 4th, 5th wave feminism now, in your pursuit to have sexual freedom and be hypersexual beings and explore your womanliness and all this, you flooded the market. And this goes back to like OnlyFans, content creators, where it's so funny that like all these girls in their young, 19, 20, whatever, like you're making some of them millions of dollars by the age of 20 years old, putting pictures and content and fucking all these guys. I don't know, for $5-10 a month, I can see all that. So you're making tons of money doing this. And then you hit 30, because guess what? When you're 30, that's like 80 in porn star years. Because guess what? Literally, by the time I've put this video out, from the start of it to the end of this recording, there's 10,000 girls who turned 18 and who made an OnlyFans account. So women, you are the most fastest depreciating thing in existence right now. You depreciate faster than a fucking car. When it comes to this online environment that you guys have now been taking advantage of, you've created your own worst fucking cycle of nightmare, self-fulfilling prophecy kind of a thing. Because every day you get older, and every day there are younger, hotter versions coming onto the market who are competing with you, and they're doing it for cheaper or less or whatever. But that's the thing now. Like, we have so much variety. Now, this is the flip side to the argument with like women on dating apps. Like, there's so many women out there who, you guys get on these dating apps, and there's men from all over the world who want you. So now you got all these women who are 5s thinking they're 10s because like, oh, I've got 1,000 guys who swiped on me this week. Like, and that goes to your head. It would anybody. Now, men are the same way. If you're a fucking Henry Cavill looking motherfucker, yeah, every chick in 1,000 miles is going to want to fuck you. And that goes to your head. You get an ego and the vanity from that. That's psychological. Nobody's immune to that. But ironically enough, going back to like, again, it's the market. And why I think it's funny when I see some of these late 20s and 30s content creators who are now trying to get away from it, and they're complaining like, oh, I can't find a guy to stay with me or whatever. And it's like, well, yeah, because this goes back to the age-old saying, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? Like, if you're a 30-year-old OnlyFans person, and for the last 5 years, you've fucked hundreds of dudes, cool, good for you. You've made a lot of money doing that. I respect the hustle. But now you're complaining that you're out of that. You've got your money and you're retiring. Now you're upset that you can't find a guy to complete your life, and you're sad and alone, surrounded by your houseplants, cats, and too many fucking dogs. Now you're making videos like, oh, please still feel bad for me. You're not buying my porn anymore, but here, let me make content about how you should feel bad for me. Woe is me. So you still stay relevant. And to me, that's fucking hilarious. Because again, it goes back to the saying, it's like, you created the market. But now you've made it so where all these other young women are flooding it too, and you're creating like your competition every day. You're now competing against thousands of more younger, prettier girls than you every day. And I'm not making this, again, you can Google only if there's, it's kind of a pain to get this way, but you can find the metrics of OnlyFans, fans, like the main content sites, you can see how many new accounts are opened up in age range. There's, again, I'm not going to tell you how to find it. Do the homework yourself. But it is absolutely batshit crazy. And this is worldwide. So again, think about how many people on this earth. There is a lot of young women turning 18, 19, getting the courage, and they make OnlyFans accounts every freaking day. So you as this 25-year-old content creator, you've been doing it for a couple years now, that's your competition. And guess what? Your competition, they're brand new to the game, but they're young and hot. And they're not going to charge $50 a month for their shit like some of these super famous girls are doing. They're going to do it for $1, like the cost of a coffee at Starbucks. And that's fine. Like, yeah, $5, that's nothing. So why would I pay $50 for, again, I've seen all your shit. I can just Google it for free. But now here's a young new thing doing it for way less. Now I want to see her. Now imagine that, again, times thousands. So again, don't blame guys for that. Because again, you guys set the market. You guys, we're the players. We're the pawns in your game. You guys made the board. You're Milton fucking Bradley. You guys designed the board, created the rules, printed your own money. You did all this stuff, and then you're upset that guys aren't doing what you wanted. Well, you were happy when it was you, but now that we're looking at your competition, oh shit. And a perfect fucking example, I made a video on her too, is that Roma's Army, whatever, because guess what? You know, now she's like this super champion for man content creator, which is total bullshit. Because guess what? She used to make spicy videos, and then she had a kid, and then guess what? Nobody was buying that shit anymore because it was all leaked online for free, and nobody gave a fuck. Because guess what? There's like 10 million more girls younger, hotter than her that didn't have stretch marks. And guess what? Sorry, that's how shallow dudes are when you guys flood the market that way. And we're like, yeah, why would I settle for that? Guess what? This is free and cheap and better. Sorry. But now because of that, her spicy content's no longer with it. So now she's the champion for men, trying to talk like all these sluts are bad now. And it's like, again, we're not dumb. Like, we know what you are. You're a washed up porn star, and now you're trying to stay relevant by acting like you give a fuck about men now. Come on. But that's the way it goes. That's what you see, is there's a lot of middle-aged women trying to, again, still fight for men's attention, but now they can't do it in a sexual way, so now they have to do it like, oh, I'm on your side, guys. And then you get all the simps that come in like, yay, this girl actually cares about me. You know, it's fucking retard logic. But again, I'm just a player. This is the game. I just enjoy watching it. It's like D&D. Honest to God, I give a fuck about D&D. I've never played it, don't want to play it, but I can sit here and watch somebody play that shit for 6 hours straight because it's entertaining to me. And that's how I look at this whole slut phase of women these days, where I think it's all fucking funny. Because don't get me wrong, I absolutely love sluts. I'm so thankful that you guys have done this because you've made it easy for a single guy. Because it's like, guess what? Like, there's plenty of you easy girls out there that you're just fighting for attention, and you'll give it away for pennies on the dollar, or you'll sleep with guys for freaking, bought you dinner, or, gave you the attention your father never gave you. And it's like, damn, it has never been this easy. And the crazy thing is, because of the internet and stuff, it's just made it that much more simple. Where it's like, shit, man, like, you used to have to, like, talk to women, and actually go meet somebody face to face and do all these things and court them and do all this other shit to sleep with a chick. It was work. And granted, it was indeed satisfying when you managed to go through a process and you're like, yes, because honestly, working for anything and then achieving that goal, the satisfaction is fantastic. Instant gratification, while technically the reward is the same, you don't appreciate it as much. And that's how I've done it. I've had one night stands that I've met off of Tinder and stuff like that. And again, I'm just happy to be there. I'm very happy that you'll let me put my DNA on and around you. That's fantastic. I had a good time. But then the flip side, then you're like, oh, I thought we had a good time. Why don't you want to call me anymore? Why aren't you're not answering my texts? Well, yeah, because you're an easy whore. And like, I wanted to enjoy the company of an easy whore for the night. Like, I don't want to fucking date you. Because don't get me wrong, look at me, I'm not a fucking good looking dude. So if you're going to give it away to me for that easy, I am not even going to imagine what, like, if a better looking, like I said, if Henry Cavill showed up, like, oh my God, you would just take your clothes off right there on the floor. And frankly, like, I would too. I'm not knocking you there. So, but again, I'm just following the rules in which you guys set before me, and then you're mad about it. And this is the crazy part. So the couple of young women that I've had this full discussion with, where we actually got into it, and they're like, well, then how would you fix it? I honestly don't fucking have a clue. I don't think it can be fixed. Because again, we've gotten away, going back to morals, we've gotten away from morals because of accountability. And until young, and I can't even say young women, because honestly, I've had one night stands with women in their 40s and 50s that were cheating on husbands or boyfriends or whatever, simply because it was like, oh, you just wanted external validation, like, oh, he hasn't talked to me or hasn't slept with me in a year and blah 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 blah, and he doesn't have time and what, and you're like, okay, like it was that easy for you to fuck somebody else, and it's just like, well, again, lack of accountability on women's parts. The age range honestly doesn't fucking matter here, because I've seen it on the full side of the spectrum. And I mean that personally. Like I'm not saying I've been a victim of it, because I enjoyed my time with these women, but it has given me that insight to be like, oh yeah, it's that fucking easy. Like the trust issue, and part of that's the way it is, where it's like, and that's why I'm generally scared of dating, because I've been a side piece for plenty of ladies, and again, I enjoy that lifestyle for, again, instant gratification, but it has caused me to keep a guard up, because it's like, I've seen it. I've seen the people that have like the perfect Facebook, Instagram marriages, and beautiful husband, beautiful family, beautiful woman, and she's a cheating whore. But you're not going to see that on Facebook. That's not the life they want to portray. And so it's like, yeah, I call it trust issues, if you will. Yeah, it's definitely like a trust factor, because it's like, oh no, like they can't even judge anybody based on their online profiles anymore, because again, I've seen it. Like I've seen the happiest fucking families on the internet cheating whores. I worked with the guys, like he was cheating on her and she cheated on him and all this other, like it's bullshit, but that's the way people are. They have their online, what they want people to see, and then the shit shows that are in their homes. So it's really hard to differentiate that. And while social media has become a double-edged sword with that, because again, now in my experience, I can now see and look, if I see a young woman and I'm like, let me look up her social medias, there's a lot I can see on how somebody portrays themselves, and it's like, do I really want to invest in this? Probably not. Or if you don't see anything on there, then you're like, they don't post anything, like what's going on with that? Because again, social media and the internet has made dating and I don't want to say dating, it's made accessing information much easier, because again, before that, like in my high school days, like you had to fucking talk to chicks. You had to write them a note, hey, I like you, like you want to go to McDonald's after class today? You know, I'll buy you a McFlurry. And guess what? Like she either did or she didn't. She liked you back, she checked the box, and then you guys talked. And you talked on the phone, and you had to get to fucking know somebody. And I miss that in a lot of ways. The opposite side, where I'm thankful we're not about it, because again, now it's time. Because again, investing is everything, and I don't mean like investing money, because it is. But I don't give a fuck about money, I care about time. Because money I'm going to make more of. Time, we all have 24 hours a day, and none of us are getting it back. So to me, time is the most important resource in my fucking life, and I like the ability to get online. If I meet a girl and we talk, and then she gives me her Instagram or something, like shoot me a DM or something, cool. I'm going to look her up. And in 5 minutes, because again, in my experience and the things that I know, in about 5 to 10 minutes of looking at somebody's social media stuff, I already can make a pretty well-rounded decision. And it's pretty quick. Again, very infrequently have I ever like, you know what, let me dig deeper on this. I actually want to talk to them some more. Because again, people post a lot of their shit, and it's easy to see who people are online. Or who they want you to see them as, because everybody lies. Everybody always puts the best for it. You're dating the representative first, you know, and then 6 months later you're shitting with the door open, hearing them fart in bed, and then you're like, oh, I didn't know she was gross, you know. But that's how it is. That's how real life is, unfortunately. So I don't know, like going back to, I do not know how we fix that problem. And I'm not, like, it's something, I truly think about that all the time, and nothing that keeps me up at night. But it's one of those things where it's easy to bitch about something, but I never like to bitch about something without saying, all right, here's how I think I would fix it, or here's how I propose we start a solution. But the way that modern day dating and fifth wave or whatever feminism has become, where it's like, I don't know how we go back from this. I mean, frankly, like, it's really not even going forward because it's just getting worse. Like, again, ladies, you've created a fucking horrible, never-ending Monopoly game that there's no end to it. You guys have wrote these rules out to keep men, like, we're going to have to keep playing this fucking game, and nobody's the winner. Like, if ladies, your idea if your end goal of that game was to find a man to love you and marry you for who you are, but now you flooded the market with a bunch of other easy girls who will, like, sell him nudes for $5 a month or whatever, like, you have made a horrible game for yourselves. And it's like, I really don't know. I don't know how this is going to end. It's not getting better. I truly, honest to God, I thought once COVID was over and the pandemic was finished, I thought we were going to see a regression away from this, and it just doubled down. So kind of that was my real only hope for humanity there, was like once the pandemic was over and we got to go out and see people and interact again, I thought that the OnlyFans and the stuff like that, I thought that was going to kind of taper off. Boy, I could not have been more wrong. And again, I don't see it. I don't see us ever going back to the way things were. I don't see how we fucking can. And it's like, honestly, what do we do with that? If this is the scenario that's now our future, like, how do we proceed? Because you're already seeing this, like, in many countries, like the lower birth rates, like, it's happening. I know that I've read so many articles about, Korea and Japan, that there's so many young men out there that they don't ever want to fucking leave their apartment. They're not interested in dating real women at all, because they've got their porn, their hentai, their body pillows. They have all this other blowjob machines and toys out there for dudes that they'd rather sink $1,000 into that than try to go out and date multiple women and go deal with the turmoil and emotional heartbreak that comes from that. And to a degree, I'm like, I don't blame them, because it sucks. Like, being rejected never feels good. Now, when you've been rejected a lot, it does get easier. So I do feel bad generally for, like, the young guys out there in their 20s, like when you're getting out there at a college and you're trying to date, because I remember that shit. Like, dating initially sucks, and getting rejected, or even like going on a first or second date and then it, hey, turns out it's not going to work out. Like, that does suck. But you build up a tolerance to that where you're like, oh, I have done this before. It doesn't hurt as bad. Not saying it still doesn't suck, but you get rejected. Again, go on to the fucking next one, because they're out there. So it's just a weird thing. And again, I know I laugh when I see some of these OnlyFans, like, I don't need no guy because no guy is going to compete with what I have in my nightstand. Cool. I'm happy for it, but I don't know, is your fucking vibrator going to build you a house, or tell you when your fucking oil's low on your car, or change your tire for you, or open that pickles jar, or kill the spider in the toilet seat? Again, that's the whole point of relationships, is finding somebody who complements your weaknesses and vice versa. And for those people, and I especially feel bad for the younger people that aren't really self-aware and haven't figured out their life. Now, and I'll use myself for an example. I very much enjoy the single life. I really do. Financially, I don't have any issues. Probably won't for the rest of my life. Great feeling. I also have my place. I have my kind of life set up to where it's like, look, I don't need another human being to function at all. Never, and I won't. I don't need somebody with more money to come into my life. I already buy what I want, do what I want, whenever I want, really, if my work permits it. So that freedom right there gives me that lovely ability to be extremely picky with who I want to let into my life. And that goes not even for dating, that's social circle as well, because there's a lot of people I've worked with and have worked with in the past. It's like, yeah, like you're cool work buddies, but like I'm paid X amount of dollars an hour to be around you for 8 to 10 hours a day. Once that's done with, like, I don't think about, like, you're not in my life at all. I don't think about it, and that's fine. Because again, your coworkers are not your friends. Now, you can have friends that are your coworkers, but just because they work with you inherently doesn't make them your fucking friends. A lot of people don't realize that, and you need to let that sink in. Delicious. So again, where do we go from there? you know? And I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. And that's what, when I talk to people, whenever like, oh, when are you going to find a nice girl and have a family? And I'm like, bro, I'm almost 40 at this point. And it's honest to the point where, like, honestly, on my 40th birthday, I really am thinking, I was like, I might as well, on my 40th birthday, just, that was going to be my present to myself, is just go get a vasectomy. Because at this point, like, I don't want to be one of those old dads. Like, if I have a kid, like, let's be real, like, I'm almost 40. So if I meet a woman, realistically, like, we're not even going to, if I met somebody right now, it's going to be minimum, like, 2 years before we're even thinking about, like, marriage and then child after that. So at that point, 43, 44 years old, I'm going to be 60s when that child graduates high school. And I don't want to do that shit. I don't want to be like the old dad and just deal with all that. I'm not opposed to it. So, because again, I've always tell people this. I'm like, look, kids are give or take to me. I don't lose sleep. I don't ever go to bed like, oh my God, I'm never going to have a family of my own. Like, never crosses my fucking mind. However, if I did meet the right person, I'm not opposed to the idea of starting a family with somebody, you know. But it would have to be with the right fucking person to make me get over the apprehension that I have of wanting to be old dad or whatever. Because again, there's exceptions to every rule. You just have to find the exceptional person. And I have not done so yet. And so, just one of those things that it might be having kids is not in the cards for me, and I'm okay with that. So again, at that point, then it's like, all right. And I am thankful at this age that I'm at now, you know, some of the females that I've dated who are at my age, like, their kids are already grown and they're almost their grandparents and shit, which is ironic. Like, I'm dating a grandma. But there is a nice ability, like having grown kids that have moved out or whatever, and you're like, oh, okay, like, I'm not raising your family. You already did that. I'm with you now. And then, you know, we get to see the kids or grandkids whenever they fucking come by. I think that's a novel idea too. I'm not opposed to that. But again, that's just where this weird online dating and the way the world is now, it's made I don't even say, it's not even confusing. Because again, the rules are out there and they're rather simple. But it's like a game, again, it's like a never-ending game of Monopoly. Like, I know the idea is you want to own all the properties and have all the money and bankrupt everybody else. But when every move you take could be like, oh, go to jail, or take 3 steps back, go back to start, don't collect, go. It's just like, that's what this modern day dating feels like, is a never-ending game of shitty Monopoly where it's like, every time you think you get ahead, bam, you're right back to the start, or you end up punished for something, and it's just like, fuck, man, I don't know how to win. I'd like to win, but I don't know how. And some people have figured it out. Most of us haven't. And that's one of the great joys in life, is just pursuing happiness and that kind of shit. And it's difficult to do because, again, what a lot of us should be on is focusing on that. Like, what makes us happy and our well-being, we're distracted by things in the media, like the election and all this other turmoil and these never-ending fucking wars and, again, cost of gas, mortgages. Like, that's the crazy thing. For what I'm paying to rent the place that I'm in now, which I fucking love, by the way, it's the fact that it's like, shit, like, what was I, 25 years old, I had a house. You know, I was married, had a house to live in, and I miss having that mortgage. I miss that, and I wish I never would have fucking sold that house, honestly. But it's just, again, one of those things with life is regrets, and it's like, I made a decision, now I'm dealing with consequences. I wish I wouldn't have made that decision. I can't change it. I'm not going to dwell on it. Let's just not make that decision again. And here I am, almost 40, and it's like, shit, the money I'm forking out, I could be in a house. However, you look at the cost of houses now, and it's like, well, for the money I'm paying for rent, I'm not going to be in a house as nice as what I'm in. So again, there's that dilemma of like, well, what do you do? And I know a lot of us are facing that same dilemma. You know, and that's the shit that I worry about. Again, I don't give a fuck about abortions. And again, even if stuff was like, if they made guns illegal tomorrow or whatever, like, fucking fine. I already have my guns. I'm fine. I can defend my home. But if they were to, like, outlaw some of my hobbies tomorrow, it's like, shit, that sucks. But at the end of the day, it's like, well, there's bigger shit to worry about. I could find new hobbies. There's other stuff, but I'm concerned about the quality of my life. Because really, it's like, hobbies are great. But when you're not doing hobbies, what are you doing? you're in your home, eating, sleeping, the comforts of life, watching TV and stuff like that, where it's just like, that's the shit I think people should be focused on, is you have to make the foundation of your life solid before you try to like go out with all this extra shit. And I've always said that with dating is, it's such a cliche thing from like every love movie out there, but it's like you have to love yourself first before you can expect anybody else to love you. Because if you're a dumpster fire shit show, that's fine. I love crazy bitches. But if you're not stable and you're not good with yourself and you're always in denial and acting like, oh no, I'm a good person, it's all this, but you constantly make shitty decisions that I'm having to fix fucking mistakes, I'm like, no, I'm not doing that anymore. And unfortunately, I know a lot of people who decide to, and I know this is a famous meme where it's like you just ignoring red flags because you're not seeing them for the person they are, but you've built this image of them in your head or who you want them to be. And I'm guilty of this as fuck. That I'm going to be with this person because I think I can help them be better. And if I help them, then they'll fix their shit and I'll like them for who I made them to be. And that don't work. It does not fucking work. And I'd say, 36, 30, I was like, 38 years old. No, 37. When I finally had that lesson sink into my fucking brain and it stuck. So for you young guys out there, don't be wrong. You're not going to listen to me, and that's fine. I wouldn't listen to me at your age either. Young women out there doing the same thing where you're ignoring the red flags, like, go ahead and do it because you need to learn. I have a tattoo on my arm that says, you don't know peace till you've had suffering. And that's from a Mushroom Head song from years and years ago. But I cannot think of a more truer statement, and I loved it so much I got it tattooed on my skin forever. Because it's a constant reminder that you have to have suffering. You have to make mistakes and feel pain because that's the greatest. Pain is the universal teacher. It really is. Like, until you burn yourself, you're not going to know what not to touch. And that's what you got to do. You're going to deal with these red flags and they're going to bite you in the ass. And eventually, you're going to learn to quit doing it. Or you're going to be like these other retards like, well, if you just callous your hands, you won't get burnt anymore. That's retard logic. And those are the people that will never be happy because instead of actually being self-aware and realizing, I got to knock this shit off, they're just like, well, if I do this, then that'll be okay. That's not how it works. But again, most people are stupid and they're not going to realize that till way too late in life, or they've made enough bad decisions where it's like, well, you're going to be dealing with those choices for many, many years and child support, alimony, and what have you. And it's like, well, I'm so glad those calluses helped you out with that. Hopefully those calluses can hold the pen when you're writing those checks to her lawyer and stuff like that. Well, what do I know? Anyways, this was a good rant. I can't get too much into the political stuff anymore because, with my current employment, I'm not allowed to give certain opinions on stuff. Which does suck. I would love to have the freedom one day to finally be able to say everything that's on my fucking mind. But I really like what I get paid. And they pay me enough that I'm willing to shut the fuck up on certain things to keep that going. So it is what it is. We all have our price. But that's all for now, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Who knows? I'll do another video soon. Maybe on some lighter topics and some happy news. But probably fucking not.